Welcome to All About Us Teen Talk TV. We would like to take a minute to thank our sponsors, Mr. and Mrs. Roger and Shavonna Johnson, founders of the Whitney Johnson Foundation Incorporated, a 501c3 organization. They provide mentoring, tutoring, counseling, and they are the executive producers of All About Us Teen Talk TV and radio, and also the CEO and CFO, founders of AAU Youth Magazine. To get more information, go to www.aaum and order your AAU Youth Magazine. Our guests today are women of distinction and represent of AAU symbolizes. We have Mrs. Sharon E. Bernard, Esquire, represents leadership, commitment, and chaputs. When she became the first black woman to graduate from the University of Arkansas of Law School and to become a licensed lawyer in Arkansas in 1970. Mrs. Bernard has received numerous awards for her outstanding leadership and commitment. We also have Judge Miller. She is the daughter of George B. Miller and Sharon E. Bernard, the first black couple to graduate from the University of Arkansas Law School. As the daughter of trailblazers, Judge Miller was taught at a young age the critical importance of service to the community, equal justice for all, and faith with works. Judge Miller was appointed judge of the 36th Judicial District Court and presides over cases in criminal and misdemeanors and civil infractions. Throughout her career, Judge Miller has received numerous awards and honors.
Martin Luther King Jr. said it best when he said, "Believe in yourself and believe you are somebody." We are in a time and place where we must reach out for our young men and young ladies to express how important it is to understand the legacy and blueprint we leave for a generation to come. Today's generation of youth, you are a junction and have a crossroad in trying to decide which road you want to travel. Youth have a high disregard for their passion, purpose, and are finding it challenging to pursue direction, especially when they are offered a destination. Today they will be speaking with two great women in distinction and addressing their failures, challenges, and obstacles we are facing with this generation. Being phenomenal is not only an act of expecting everyday access that makes you perfect. Phenomenal is understanding and knowing who you are, why you exist, and respecting your opportunity for your purpose. Shavonna Johnson, CEO, CFO, founder of AAU Youth Magazine, will be taking a quick commercial break and we'll be right back after these messages.
Could switching to Geico really save you 15% or more on car insurance? Do dogs chase cats?
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Stretching under sedation or manipulation under anesthesia is a very gentle, very precise procedure to very slowly release any scar tissue that is formed as a result of a traumatic injury. Many people ask, how does this work? Will I get hurt? Will you stretch me too far? We only stretch the body part to its normal range of motion. After completing the post-MUA rehabilitation program, it's very common that our patients say to us, hey, I can play ball with my kid again. Hey, I can bowl again. Hey, I can enjoy hiking again. this is what makes it rewarding to us as practitioners.
Hi, I'm Jeanette J.J. Branch, America's favorite stunt woman, and I'm with AAU Teen Talk. Join us live every Thursday, 4 p.m., only on Madhouse TV. Y'all watching?
Welcome back to All About Us Teen Talk TV. And as I said, today we have two very special guests, two women of great distinction, paving the way for future leaders of the next generation. I am very excited to have Judge Miller and Mrs. Sharon Bernard, Esquire. Welcome to the show. I just want you, Miss Bernard, just to give us a little bit more about yourself and just to introduce yourself so that we'll know who you are.
Well, thanks for the welcome. First off, I'm Judge Miller, and this is my mother, Sharon Bernard.
Thank you. I'm very pleased to be here with you. And thank you for saying I'm Miss Bernard. I'm Miss Bernard. Actually, my children's father, George, just passed this past summer. We were friends for 50 years. We met at Michigan State. That's where I got my, he got his degree. I did not. I went to law school as a junior in college.
Oh, wow.
So I double degreed out of law school. I actually have a BSL and a JD. And I was the first female African-American graduate. And he was about fifth or sixth African-American male. So we caught hell, to say the least.
Wow, I can imagine.
But my children, one, Cynthia, is a judge, and my other daughter is a doctor, obstetrician, gynecologist in Farmington Hills. And she works for Providence Hospital. I'm very proud of that. I have one sister, and she is a master's in law, and I have a brother who's a stockbroker. And I say all that to tell you that my mother died at 32, I was 13, and my sister and brother were younger than me. So I had to raise my sister and brother, and I was the first degree person in my entire family. So everyone stands on my shoulders.
Wow.
I've always had to be responsible for the children behind me. I have 3 grandsons also, and my oldest grandson has his degree. And he was the only African-American in the entire education college at Indiana University. So I'm very proud of my family as a whole, and I feel very responsible for them. And I've always been dedicated to children, I guess because I felt so responsible for my sister and my brother. The last thing my mother said to me, my mother had an aneurysm, brain aneurysm, was take care of your sister, your brother, and your father. And I've done that my whole life, and I still do. For Easter, I gave them the Bernard rules. And that was our family rules. And it was basically to love each other, teach each other, reach each other, do the kinds of things that I tell children when I was speaking to children in the school system.
Wow.
And those things still apply. If you take the 10 Commandments and live by those, you'll be okay.
Amen. It is truly an honor to be in the presence of wisdom. It's just so much going on in this generation, and just to hear you speak, it shudders. I just shudder to think what our ancestors have to be thinking right now. But it is truly an honor to see the representation of what you've done in your family. It's just a blessing. It's just truly a blessing to interview you today.
Amen. Well, thank you very much. It's my pleasure to be here.
I'm
just a rebel of the 60s, that's all.
You're a great rebel with great wisdom to offer, and we need that in this generation because so much of it is just...
Much as I can.
Amen. Well, you're doing a great job. You're doing an awesome, phenomenal job.
Thank you.
Judge Miller, tell us a little bit more about yourself before we get into our conversation today.
Well, first of all, I just want to say thank you again to you and to Tiana for having us on the show. We're very honored to be here, and I will tell you, this is truly a first. We've never done a television interview together. But I am so honored. I feel like a fan of my mother sitting here watching her when she comes to speak to my college classes at Baker College. I teach criminal justice here in Allen Park. And I also, of course, am a judge here at 36th District Court in Detroit. And when she comes and speaks in my class, I sit there like a fan, just observing what she's doing and what she's saying. She's a very wise woman, and I'm so honored and privileged to have her as my mother, as I was honored and privileged to have my father until he recently passed. But I am the eldest of Sharon and George's kids. They have the two of us, and I am also the eldest of all of my dad's kids. He had two other children, a son and a daughter. And I am very honored to be 9 years on the bench as the 36th District Court judge. And I'm also extremely honored to be able to serve as a professor at Baker College. Prior to coming to the bench, I was a director for Detroit Workforce Development Department working for the city of Detroit. And then before that, I was a practicing attorney. And my entire practice was employment defense. And so I was very honored and privileged to work at Dyke Madhouset here in Detroit and also at Lewis and Monday. I too am very dedicated to helping our future. I know that the future lies, helping our children rather, for the future. I know that the true future lies with our children. And I am very, very focused upon doing what I can to be a mentor. I actually just yesterday had lunch with a new mentee that I just took under my wings, who's a law student at Wayne State. I'm going to give her a shout out, Sheree. Welcome to the Miller family of mentees.
Amen. I just, I wanted to speak today about paving the way for future leading ladies. And I'm going to go over a timeline, just to give those that are watching a little refresher course, because I do this and I work with the youth because we have to help them gear and tap into their passion and their purpose to meet their destiny. And your mother has just seemed to do this so well by passing this on to her siblings, into yourself, into her family. But we have a generation that is just, it's just in disarray. And I'm just trying to figure out where exactly, Miss Bernard, did we go wrong? Where did the road take left and not come back to the center? So this is just my timeline that I have been putting together in my discussions. In 1960, we had the Civil Rights Movement, freedom to introduce, and then the Women's Rights Movement came in at the same time, and they collaborated it together. And it took a new meaning of its own. It was drugs and sex and murder. Then in 1970 was freedom to education. They had organized welfare, Section 8 housing, teen pregnancy and birth control. And then in 1980, rap was born, and that became a huge distraction. Instead of continuing their education, for them, the youth is making more money. The entitlement of money and material goods is now. They revoked birth control pills, required parents to sign for them to get access. And then at the end of 1980, you had the beginning of the technology era, the social media boom. In 1990, it began to take off, the social media. And you had the pants, the sagging pants, HIV/AIDS took its own prevalence in the world. Now we're in the 21st century, 2000 to 2015. They're killing young black men and women. Drugs are at an all-time high. They're claiming our youth's body parts and organs. African American fighting on social media, buses and trains. They're beating up elderly and they're fighting each other. Legalizing marijuana where there's already been mass incarceration. Music invoking violence, sex, drugs, disrespecting women. Education is the least on their minds, and no new civil rights bill. Now, I know I've missed some things, and I know 1950 there was killings and beatings, but I was just going from my era, from the time that I was born. And my question to you, Miss Bernard, is where did we go wrong? Where did the road just, where did it go? I mean, I'm just trying to put this together so that those that are watching, so that we can get back to a middle ground for this generation.
Well, you just synopsized very well, and I'd love to have that.
Okay.
Why I'm a rebel of the 60s. And I'll tell you that the last speech I gave, or the second to the last speech I gave, was in a classroom where a child that came to escort me back to the classroom of fifth graders, he was 10, he told me that the question, his question was, how much money did I make? Because he made more money than me in a day. He made more money in a day than I made in a year. Because he wanted to get his mother up off the ground cleaning white folks' floors. And that he was not going to school to work like I work. Okay? And his pants were sagging. They had all this gold on. I tried to explain sagging pants. I tried to explain all the gold, and that the difference in him and me, that I would be alive. And he would be dead. And his mama may be up off the floor.
Amen.
But she would be crying a lot. Because he would be gone, or he would be in a wheelchair. Or prison. Okay, now that was a long time ago because I've been retired 15 years. So, you know, it makes no sense. The generations continue to get worse, but it all started with the crack-addicted babies. And the mamas having babies that their mothers had not trained them because they were babies. See, it's a continuum of babies having babies.
Yes.
The AIDS epidemic getting mixed up in it. The men having AIDS and passing it on to their wives. My daughter, the obstetrician, will tell you about the older ladies who now come to her office who've been married 30, 40 years and their husband have given them AIDS because they're chasing the young chicks out here. This is a huge issue in the black community. So the issues are just off the chain.
Yes.
Just off the chain.
It's true.
And for a person like me who went to jail so that the 18 and 21-year-old could vote in 1960s, to see, when I ask young people, have you voted? You going to vote today? Oh, no, I ain't voting. No, I'm going to do that. And, you know, come out and well, that just hurts my feelings. I'm ready to kill you. See, if you don't have on the I voted today sign, I don't care if it's the garbage collector election. Go vote.
Yes, true, true.
See, so the problems are such a myriad of problems that no one wants to really sit down and deal with the issues. They just want to talk about.
Yes.
See, when you tell me you don't have a dog in the race, so you're not voting, then I don't talk to you no more. Because I can't talk to you. Because I'm about ready to choke you.
And she literally means she does not talk to you anymore. She has a very good phrase. She will not talk to you anymore because she said she was not going to vote.
Yeah, I don't have a dog in the race.
Oh,
what do you mean I don't have a dog? I have a dog in the race if it's the garbage collection. I don't care what it is. I have a dog in the race.
You know, that is true. I understand how you feel, but, you know, when we talk to young people and you ask them, what do you know about government? What do you know about Martin Luther King? What do you know about Malcolm X? Even though you might not have agreed with them, but it's a matter of knowing your history.
Right.
And it's very sad because when you talk to them and ask, who is Martin Luther King? I don't know. And it shudders for me to think. And that's why I invited you here today, to keep it real and keep it moving. We keep it real here, don't we, Tiana?
Yeah.
We keep it real. So keep it as real as it gets.
Part of the problem is that there's a separation of black history when black history is not black history, it's American history.
Yes.
And it should not ever have been separated out. Lord bless us for having Black History Month. But black history, if it was a part of American history, as it should be since black people did everything, did everything. If you look at all of the accomplishments of black people that are put on Facebook and other places in the month of February, if they were incorporated as a part of American history, which is what I do, I correct everything that's put out as black history and say this is American history. We don't need to separate ourselves out. We need to put ourselves up. But we don't need to separate ourselves out.
Exactly. Well, how can we do that? How can we teach our young people to pick up from where they are now to move on? How do we reach them all with everything that's going on, the fighting? I mean, it's so disheartening, Judge Miller. Even I guess within your courtroom, I know you can't talk about what is going on, but from your point of view, what is it that you see that is going on?
I think that we have a number of problems, and the first and foremost, in the 9 years that I have been on this bench, in the time that I was hearing felonies, which was the first 7.5 years of my career here, in that entire time, I can literally count on these two hands the number of people who were not black and not men. So that means and I was on the felony docket every 6 weeks or 2 weeks, plus in between the times that I would cover other judges. So that is really a stark contrast to what we know is our presence in the larger society. I talk to young people all the time, and what I tell them is that you have to first of all believe in yourself. There are times when even your parents will falter in their belief in you because you've let them down, because you've disappointed them, or because they just don't have the vision that you have. I mean, there have been different things that have happened in my life where even a best friend wasn't supportive. You have to believe in yourself. You have to know that you can believe, that you can do what you believe you can do. And guess what? The converse is true. If you believe you can't do it, you cannot. You're absolutely correct. You're going to be right in either instance. And I believe that, first of all, we have to keep educating our children. We have to keep talking to them about Martin, Medgar, Sojourner, all of our historical figures. But we also have to talk about the people who are out here today that are doing big things, the Sharon Bernards of the world who have done big things and continue to do big things and continue to give back to society. And let them know you don't have to believe that what you see in your immediate surroundings is all there is in the world. Sadly, a lot of our kids don't have any exposure to positive people doing positive things. They believe that what they see in their immediate circumstances and their immediate surroundings is all that exists. And so all they see are the dope dealers, the prostitutes, the drug users, the people who are buying the services of the prostitutes and the drug dealers, the numbers runners, and so forth. So they see murder, mayhem, rape, and other nonsense. And I think that we need to, and I say this as a person who's a product of the 80s. I mean, I graduated from high school in 1980. I'm 52 years old. And I grew up on rap music. I like rap music to this day. I think it would probably shock Tiana if she knew what was in my phone and on my iPod right now. She would be like, no, you don't. Yes, I do. But here's the thing. My parents let us listen to music with them. They talked to us about certain songs and said, that may be a great beat. We can bob our heads to it together and get down, but guess what? That's not your life. Amen. That's not what we expect of you. We need to have that conversation with our teenagers and our young people. Say, yeah, okay, they may be talking about drugs and money and dope houses and bands that make them dance, but guess what? You need to be talking about what's going to help you with your future, what's going to help you achieve your goals, what's going to help you get to your vision, and it's not this stuff here. Amen. We also need to make absolutely certain that we are focusing on these movies and not just the music, the television shows. We've got soap operas today, Shivana, where they are showing people having sex. They are literally demonstrating with moaning sounds and everything. Yes. When I was a kid, I used to race home and watch the soap operas. Now, I wouldn't let my kid watch a soap opera without having some serious discussion with them about it, or certain movies for that matter. My parents talk to us, and I think that goes to the heart of what I'm saying. It's communication from parent or guardian or some adult responsible figure to that child, or if it's just a mentor and they don't have a responsible person in their home, because let's face it, some of our kids have no responsible mother or father in their home. They have good mentors, good foster parents, good, oh, I'm gonna just take you under my wing and make you my godchild. But I talk to my mother and father about everything. I tell people, you can say, I'm gonna tell your mama, guess what, she already knows. You can say, I'm gonna tell your daddy when he was alive, and I tell you, guess what, he already knows, because I tell them everything. And the benefit of that is when I thought I was grown and I want to do this, Mom, I went home, I asked my mother, what do you think about this? Well, Mom, do you think I'm ready for this? And my mother was so cool with it, Siobhan and Tiana. Ladies, let me tell you, my mother talked me out of so much stuff and never said the word no. Mm-hmm. That's an art. She never said, oh, well, you can't do that, Cynthia, or, went to the whole head movement. She didn't do that. She said, okay, well, let's talk about that. Now, do you think that these are the possible consequences of that action? Wow. Do you think you're ready for that? And I would have to say, no, And that is a skill that our parents and guardians and mentors and so forth need to have.
Yes.
You can't just tell kids no, because the more you say no to them, the more they want to do it.
That is
They're
true.
They're going to do it.
They're going to do it. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back.
You know you already want a Toyota, but when you want more from your Toyota store, you want Smithtown Toyota, where every Toyota comes with Smithtown Toyota's Toyota for Life program, giving you lifetime New York State inspections, lifetime 10% discounts on all parts and service, 2 years of complimentary oil changes, 2 years of scheduled maintenance, and more, all at no cost to you, plus low clear-out deals on every Toyota in stock. Get more from your Toyota store. Hurry to Smithtown Toyota.
Yo, what's up, y'all? This is me, GMC, and the place to be, the greatest MC in history. There will never be an MC greater than me. And right about now, the only place for you to be is with the one and only Madhouse TV.
You are the man.
Welcome back to All About Us Teen Talk TV. Today we are talking to Judge Miller and Miss Bernard, paving the way for future leading ladies and gentlemen. We want to include the gentlemen because we're putting them in here too. You were just telling me that you were visiting a school for alternatives, and that you kept it real, and I'm glad you kept it real. Because a lot of the students that I speak with, they're always saying, we want someone to listen. We want someone to talk to. We want someone to express ourselves to. And I've noticed that even in the group homes, even in the homes, even in adoptive situations, the young people just want a release. They want to talk. They want parents to talk to them, not text them, not send them an email. They want them to sit down at the table and have a dialogue, one-on-one conversation. And I talk about parenting. Matter of fact, I call it my PSC effect. And I think that's where we are failing in the communities. Parent social community engagement. When I was growing up and I was in the South, we lived right next door to the church, and my grandmother, she would walk us to our friend's house. I couldn't understand why she had to walk me to my friend's house, which is right across the street, and she would drop us off, then go home and call to make sure we were there. Now it's like you ask your daughter, where you going? Well, this is my business. Excuse me? Oh. And you just like, wait a minute,
I would have been knocked into next year and may not be living if I had said that to my mother. I wouldn't be sitting here now. I'd be dead somewhere. Girl, please.
Yes, that is true. But now it's
You're right, though. Now, I mean, you got kids calling their parents by their first names,
yeah,
calling out their names, which is another thing. I would have been dead for sure. There's no conceivable way that I would disrespect my parents. But it goes back to what my mother said, the Ten
yes,
Commandments.
yes.
Because you are supposed to honor your mother and father. But let's say this, folks. Let's be real about it. Your parents need to be honor worthy. Okay, they need to be worthy of your respect. They need to be setting an example that is one that you can follow. Because it's one thing if you're talking something and something if you're doing something else.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. And that's why I said community is social. A lot of kids don't know how to act socially because they don't know how to interact with one another because they're not taught to engage with one another outside of social media and technology.
Yeah, they're like this. They're like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and you know what? I put that on us as well because I definitely believe that we need to make our kids stop and talk to us. Talk with them. How was your day? What was this? What was that? How was this? Who was that? What are you doing? I mean, I to this day, and it's just ingrained in me. When I'm leaving home, I tell my mom when I'm leaving and going out, and I let her know when I'm back home, even if it is just a shoot or a text, but I communicate with her because in today's world, it's dangerous.
It is dangerous.
And we have to know what's going on with our children and know what's happening in their lives. And you can't really do that in text messages.
That is true.
And she's still my child.
Amen.
And I'm her child now. Did you know that?
Well, I'm quite sure she gives you your freedoms. I want to ask a quick question, Judge Miller, because, there might be some people who are watching, just so that we can be clear before we go into our next segment of questions. I just want you to just define what is a felony and what is a misdemeanor.
Happy to do that. It will vary a little bit by state, but typically in most states, a felony is going to be anything that carries a possible sentence of greater than 1 year. Okay. And a misdemeanor will be anything that carries a sentence of less than a year. Here in Michigan, we have something called high misdemeanors, and they carry punishments of up to 2 years. But the rest of the cases are all going to be felonies. And to give you a concrete example, the cases that I hear now are traffic and ordinance violations, and I hear civil infractions like speeding tickets, running a red light, not having your proof of insurance. You have insurance, but you just didn't have it with you. And I also handle the misdemeanor like in Michigan, in Detroit, we have a violation for being in the park after dark, drinking in public on the public sidewalk, soliciting a person for an act of prostitution. If you're driving down the street, you don't have your license, you don't have insurance. So those are the misdemeanors. And the felonies that I used to handle are the typical things like murder, rape, carjacking, drug dealing at a certain level and a certain amount, and things of that nature. So that's the basic differences.
Okay, got you. I just wanted to clarify that. I want to ask your mother, Mrs. Bernard, when you were attending college and when you look at what they are going through now to go to college and the challenges, what do you see that's different from yesterday until today? Are they similar?
I think it's very similar. I went to a black college that had a black teacher for the first time in my life. And in Arkansas. After I married, we moved back to Arkansas, which was George's home. I'm a Michigan person. I was born and raised in Detroit. And I was on a 4-year academic scholarship at Michigan State, and his mother died, and so we moved to Arkansas. And then we left Arkansas, which was an all-black school, and went to the University of Arkansas Law School. So I went as a junior in college. So I never finished college. But going to a black college was a whole different route for me. I had never been in that kind of academic situation in my life. It was like wow to me. I mean, first of all, they were on a, what do you call that? A curve.
Oh,
I
okay.
had grown up on a 95 to 100 as an A, 85 to 95 is a B, a set. And so I was not used to this curve at all. So here I am on 95 to 100, and the rest of the class was flunking out. So they called me to the doctor of the institution. They said, we can't have you doing this.
Wow.
Now, what are you talking about? I'm a straight A student. That's what I am. That's what I've been. That's what I'm going to be. So you have to change the curve. You have to do something about your curve. I have nothing to do with your curve. So I've been in different situations in terms of my education. When we went to law school, it was very, very difficult for us because they wouldn't even let us park a trailer. They wouldn't rent us a home.
Wow.
We had so much problems in trying to just park a trailer because they wouldn't rent us a home. We bought a house, bought a trailer. They wouldn't rent us any place to park the trailer. No place. Finally, they rented us a place, and then they closed it down.
And just so we're clear, this is because my parents were the only African American couple trying to get into this places.
Wow.
And that's why they're not allowing them to park to purchase in those locations.
So my education was so disrupted and interrupted by the process of integrating the law school. Of course, they never knew what I was, which I found out after I finished law school. They didn't know, that's what they said, that I was black. It took them 40 years to recognize me as the first black people.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
They called me back to Auntie, and one of the professors wrote a note that was very, very just heartwarming. He said that I had carried myself with my head up so, and I never asked for anything, and so he didn't know that I needed anything. Because I didn't. If I did, I wouldn't have asked you. And comparing that to the day, I think children, because there is no affirmative action officers, really, who give a damn about our children. I know when my grandson was going to college, and he's finished college and been working for 4 or 5 years now, there is no one to help children through the system. So it's very comparable to what I went through in my mind. And the parents of these children, for many of them, do not have a college education and don't have the appreciation for what the child has to go through, and particularly in a huge institution like Michigan or Michigan State or Indiana or wherever. They're going to have just majorly problems. I mean, I know what my daughter went through. She went to Michigan, and she'll tell you I almost turned the school out 2-3 times. I mean, just 2-3 times. But she has, yeah. I mean, but she has a mother who's like that. Okay. I mean,
but everybody isn't that fortunate.
No.
They don't have somebody.
But parents who don't have a history of having gone through these kinds of issues themselves and have an appreciation for that would not understand. And the problems that the children are having are things that are just too much for them to overcome and then get an education. Right. And they're in a different system, whole different system than they're accustomed to dealing with.
Wow.
So I think an education now is very difficult for a child to get and excessively expensive. Excessively expensive. And then you end up with these huge college loans that will be with you for the rest of your life.
So true.
And unfortunately, no one addresses that issue.
That is true.
So the child ends up trying to go to a junior college or somewhere, get a less than appropriate education, and then try to then upgrade to a Michigan or Michigan State or Ohio State or wherever, and then they're not really adequately prepared. They're just not equipped.
That is true.
So the issues are still there. It's just that we don't know how to deal with them. The parents nowadays, most of them, of the children that you're talking about out here in the streets who are trying to make a difference, they don't have the equipment to deal with it.
That is so true. Tiana has a question.
My question is for Judge Miller. Is representation a big part of you becoming a person in the law, and like, was it harder for you to be put on a higher pedestal, knowing that your mom has done great things and has, you know, paved the way for many African Americans? Was it harder kind of for you to work harder and be better than everyone?
You know what, Tiana, I will tell you, I was one of those kids, believe it or not, that even with my parents being so strong, for me, it would be very different if you were asking my sister this question, I think. But for me to be totally raw, unfiltered, and honest, it had the opposite effect. I felt like I had to compete with them. I felt pressure that I put on me. They never put any pressure on me, but I felt pressure that I put on me to feel like I had to be bigger, better, bolder, tougher, etc. And they never put that on me. They just said, be the best of whatever you're going to be. And they preached to me what Dr. Martin Luther King said: if you're going to be a street sweeper, be the best street sweeper.
Right.
And so I put a lot of pressure on myself, and it wasn't until I really realized, wait a minute, hold it, I don't have to do that. I can pave my own way, blaze my own trail, make my own path. And it took me a lot of false starts. I'm going to be honest with you. I talk to people very openly about my educational background. I punched out at University of Michigan. She talked about turning out of school. Yeah, but I still didn't do what I needed to do, and they very promptly said, goodbye, sayonara, we'll see you later. And I ended up coming to Wayne State. I had a really bad car accident. I was in a very bad pity party for myself, and I had a lot of surgery. I've had 7 to date on my right ankle as a result of that same car accident I had when I was 20 years old. And it took me then going to Wayne State, starting there, finishing Wayne State, crossing the stage, but ending up with an incomplete because I had not finished a class that I had to do there. And then I ended up going off to Chicago to law school, started law school in Chicago, had all kind of issues and problems there. Again, because I was still in this raving pity party. That was when I found I had to have operation number 5 on my right ankle. And I just didn't do what I needed to do. I didn't turn in the papers, didn't do what I needed to do with that incomplete. It became an F. So I crossed the stage at Wayne State, and that ended up not being a degree that was legitimate because I never did that class. So here I am, gone to law school in Chicago. All my friends think I'm in law school. I end up punching out there, coming back to Detroit, having to go back to Wayne State, mortified and embarrassed because all my friends are still there that I left behind, thought I was now going to be in law school, and finishing Wayne State finally, regrouping. I spent 4.5 years getting myself together, getting my own head together, getting out of my own way, and said, you know what, wait a minute, I'm working as a regulatory writer and trainer, I'm working with all these lawyers, I can do what they're doing. I don't need to sit up here and do their work or look over what they're doing. I can do it myself. And I went back to law school. When I went back to law school, I was on a different page. Went back to law school in 1992 at Detroit College of Law, which is now Michigan State University College of Law. That's when I started blazing my own trail. I started owning who I am, what I wanted to do, what my dreams were, and stopped putting and comparing myself to my parents. And I've been able to, by the grace of God and the mercy of God, go to law school, finish law school as the first African-American woman president of my law school's class in their 105-year history, then become the first judge in our family. They were the first lawyers. I'm the first judge. I now have a cousin who is a federal judge who came right behind me and went on the Court of Appeals as an appointment in Arkansas. I'm hoping for him to be our next Supreme Court Justice, and that's Brian Scott Miller in Arkansas. He's awesome. But anyway, all I'm saying to you is that kids today have got to believe in themselves. I said this earlier, and I say it from my own personal experience. The best thing I can do to encourage you and all other teens and young people listening is to believe in yourself. I had to get out of my own way and stop sabotaging my own success. And when I did that, the sky has been the limit. And where I am now is not where I will end up. I am writing books. I am working on other ideas. I have television programming that I'm working on of my own. I have lots of ideas, and I'm just getting started. I'm 52, but believe me, life is still going strong in Columbia.
But she is licensed in Arkansas.
I am.
We're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back with Mrs. Bernard and Judge Miller.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jeanette J.J. Branch, America's favorite stunt woman, and I'm with AAU Teen Talk. Join us live every Thursday, 4 p.m., only on Madhouse TV. Y'all watching?
Welcome back to AAU Teen Talk TV. We are speaking to Miss Bernard, Esquire, and Judge Miller. We're just having a candid conversation today about paving the way for future leading ladies. What we need to tap into the young ladies as well. Miss Bernard, I know you have something that you want to say about today's young ladies. I don't know where to start, actually. That's why you hear me blah, 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 blah. We have so much going on. You know, these young girls that I speak to, they want to be video vixens. They want to be Lil Wayne's wife. They want to go to dinner at McDonald's. They don't believe in someone pulling the chair out, taking them to a 5-star restaurant. You got grandmom dating Shakina's boyfriend. You know, you mentioned that earlier. I don't know where to begin with this question. I really don't. Maybe you can start. What is really going on?
Well, it goes back to the same thing I said earlier. You know, if you don't teach and reach out to children, they don't know. And they know what they see. And what they see are videos and Maury Povich.
Right.
Okay? And I watch Maury Povich myself, so I can tell you what's on there. and it's about holes, tricks.
Yes.
And the song's about the same thing.
Yes.
And the baby jacks. And they may be on there the 15th time to find the baby jack.
Yeah, that's the sad part. That is truly, truly the sad
part.
I'm laughing, but it's not funny.
I know.
It is very tragic. It's horrifying.
It's true.
But I admire a child who will come on there 15 times and embarrass herself to find a baby, the father. Because I believe every child needs both parents.
Yes.
I don't care what the child is, male or female, the child needs and deserves both parents. Right. Okay? So I'm not making fun of that situation. That's why I watch it. I find it not entertaining. I find it very educational. And as a matter of fact, I can't remember the young man from Detroit who goes on there and takes the girls and the boys off and teaches them and brings them back, the mean ones, the mad ones, the ones who want to have babies, the ones who are all just out of order. Teaches them and brings them back, and they totally change. So I mean, there are teachable children.
Yes.
There are reachable children.
Yes.
It's that there is no one doing that. Because we don't have dinner with our children anymore. We sat down to the table. We learned what fork and knife and spoon to use and how to communicate with our parents and grandparents and aunts and uncles, because we had family dinners. We don't have those anymore. My sister is so upset because Easter we put together as a family, and we're a very small family. But she's so upset she doesn't know what to do with herself. She's just upset because none of us were together.
Usually we are, though. Usually we are.
I mean, she's just so upset she didn't know what to do with herself. That's true. Now, I went over to have dinner with her because I knew she was so upset. But I'm saying, we didn't know where my grandsons were. The oldest one didn't come home. So, that's just a typical example. I mean, families don't have sit-down dinners.
Yes.
Gramps aren't around, or they're like me. I stopped cooking when my father passed. I said the new slogan is, guess who's coming to dinner? It's me. I will buy whatever you want, but I'm not cooking no more. I cooked my last meal when I buried my father. That was it. I don't cook no more. I want something, I go buy it. Now, or I tell you what I want. She cooks good spaghetti with me. I mean, that's just the way it is. I could all her life.
And I happily cook for her now.
Yeah, that's not too much. Plus, I'm her child, so she should cook for me.
But we have youth now that don't want to take care of their parents. If they have to take care of them, they don't want to take care of them.
Honey, I pray every day that I can stay in my house and take care of myself, because I really don't want my children to have to make that decision.
And the reality is, though, that we were raised in a different time. I grew up with mother taking care of my great uncle, grandmother, my great grandmother. That's all we know. I mean, Mom knows that we would never put her in any kind of facility or something. We would take care of her. I took care of my father until he died. He died in my home, in my living room. So, we would never not do that. You're right, though. Too many children these days, they're resolute. And I don't mean just children. I mean people my age. There are people in my age bracket who are 50-something years old who their first solution is put their parent or grandparent or whoever it is in a home. And not to take care of that person. And I think that goes back to what you were saying and what my mother said to me my whole life. It is the absence of communication and socialization.
Yes.
If our kids are growing up and all they see and think about is the video games, the video music videos, the award shows, who's doing who, when, where, and how. All these reality talk shows drive me insane. I don't watch any of them, not A1. I couldn't tell you jackrabbit anything about any of them because I think they're all ignorant. And I think it's a despicable show to our young people, just like I don't watch the judge shows. I think if I acted like that, if the citizens of the city of Detroit put me back on the bench, and they should all be arrested and shot. It's just, I mean, seriously.
That's true.
You cannot sit here and ask for respect when you are you lack respect yourself. I mean, you don't demonstrate respect to others. I can't holler at people in my courtroom. I can't scream and call people out their name and things of that nature. If I do that, to me, you shouldn't vote for me. You should vote for the person that has integrity and respect and things of that nature. So it's the same thing that I said earlier about our kids. If they're seeing an example of leadership in action, if they're seeing a lady, because a lady, every woman is not a lady. My mother is a lady.
See, I used to take my children. Cynthia met Jennifer Granholm when she was a little girl.
No question.
Because I took her to a Stop Abusing Children dinner. The only way I could see my children before they went to bed, because I had to do all these chicken dinners on my job, I would swoop by my house and grab my kids. And Cynthia was the child who always would go with me.
Everywhere.
So she met everybody.
Everybody.
And when she had to run for judge, she knew everybody. She's known John Conyers since she was little. She's known everybody. Wendell Lampley, everybody. She's known these people since she was a little girl. And Cynthia was the chaplain of the NAACP statewide in Arkansas when she was 5. Yeah, 5.
Wow.
So, if you involve your children, that's what I'm saying. These children don't have the mothers that when we think of mothers, that doesn't exist anymore. That primarily does not exist.
Yeah, there are some still that are doing it and holding it down, and fathers as well. And we see those as well, but they are more now the exception rather than the norm. I could run everywhere with my mother. My mother didn't walk off and just leave us at home. My mother was a lady. My mother, when my parents separated, my mother talked to us and said, You know, I want to be able to go and do, and this is what I want to do for my career, but I also want to be able to support you all with your junior achievement and all of your other little stuff that you're doing, your cheerleading and your basketball and your base, because we were very active. I mean, both my sister and I, she ran track, she was a cheerleader. Both of us were in junior achievement. I was in police explorers. I was in, you know, on the debate club. I was on this and on that. I mean, you know, I played basketball. We were active. My mother would leave her job, come get us, take us, in Clawson, Michigan, which is a long way from where we were in school at Benedictine and St. Scholastica and so forth, and come and get us, take us to our after-school events, and then go back out to Clawson, finish her work, and come back and get us. That is a level of dedication that you really just don't see. Our kids now, it's go get the Uber, you know, get on the Uber, or get the cab, or call somebody else, or whoever, and then your kids end up in front of me because they're riding with whoever, and they end up with people who have dope in their car, guns in their car, and they don't even know because they're choosing the wrong people to associate with. Exactly. Young people, you are hearing the sound of my voice. Please make smart decisions about the things you're doing today, because they will haunt you the rest of your life.
That is
true. If
true.
you have a misdemeanor or felony, you are not going to get financial aid, or it will become very difficult. If you want to become a licensed professional, a doctor, a lawyer, an accountant, even a carpenter, you want to be a licensed social worker, you have to clear certain hurdles for character and fitness to be deemed worthy of that license, and you won't get it, or you will have a heck of a hard time if you have a record. So make good choices about who you associate with and what you're doing with them.
I want
stop.
That is true. We won't stop, and we will have you back again. We would love for you to come back, Miss Bernard. We thank you for your wisdom. We thank you for the love. We appreciate you for the lady that you are. Judge Miller, I love you. I thank you for taking the time to come out to speak with us. And we do welcome you back. Today we were talking about paving the way for future ladies in this generation. This is All About Us Teen Talk. Don't forget to order your All About Us Youth magazine. You can reach us at www.aaum.com. Again, we thank you, ladies, and it was just such an awesome conversation. We will be back here next Thursday with the Life Transformers, and please join us again at 4 o'clock. Have a great day.